All right, so 2018 video marketing trends. Before we get into the trends, let's talk a little bit more about why video is so important. Rose, can you help me out with that?
Absolutely. Video is increasingly important no matter what size company you are, whether you are a sole proprietor, whether you are a small business with a locally focused customer base, whether you're a global brand with a multi-million-dollar marketing budget. Think about it. But by 2019, some of the stats tell us internet video will account for 80% of all traffic, all internet traffic by consumers. So we are living a video first world right now. And again, it really does affect brands at every level, companies at every size. And it's a full range of video options right now. So we have free platforms like Facebook Live that are increasingly being used by companies in a wide variety of sectors. Used to have Periscope as a potential live streaming platform. You have Instagram as a fantastic place for videos, and you increasingly have sophisticated platforms for highly produced videos like virtual reality, like 360 video. So video consumption does not show any intentions of decreasing, and it has gotten to a point where businesses of all sizes need to pay attention.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I think that really leads it off well, Rose. I mean, what it basically is getting into is that the more the video, the more people that are in organizations that are getting in video means that it's about the experience. It's experiential. That's why, you have the influx of live. So it's live, it's happening. Get people here, everybody, and then also, building the more storytelling content. And now we're getting into the story making, in which that's what virtual reality and 360 video is coming into, more of that experiential way of interacting with an organization in what they do. Now, it's not for everybody. I mean, you have to choose your platform. Just like when you use Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, where is your audience? How is your audience going to engage with this? And that's what it comes down to: the experience, the engagement, and storytelling into story making.
So what's the strategy as far as doing, a ratio of live versus produced content? Obviously, it probably depends on what you're trying to pitch, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the live is basically in the moment. It's an event-based, or, it's a talk, or, you want somebody there at that moment. But for the pre-produced, or the heavy storytelling content, that's for ad platforms, or trying to build a different type of trust with your consumer base, or bringing your attention to something in which you can't do well live. And live really lends to putting it in the hands of the business owner or marketing director, whereas the pre-produced pieces in which you're trying to craft the story, that's where you bring in other professionals and such to help tell that story in a way that really engages the audience.
I want to piggyback. This is Aaron, MC Foundation. I want to piggyback on what you just said, Paul. And I think that it's important that folks understand that because it's live video does not mean that there isn't a ramp up in production value. You do not want to go and do a live video all of a sudden just at a spur of the moment. That's fine for some, but you want to make sure that you know what you're going to say, you know where the principles are, you know what you're marketing. Those are important elements to going live. If you don't have a storyboard, you might want to reconsider the option.
Got it.
Right, absolutely. And this is Courtney. And also, with what Paul was talking about for how business owners can get involved, it's really easy to just think about your daily activities and kind of what who the roving reporter can be on your team. So for instance, are you a business owner who has occasion to speak at events? That is a perfect opportunity for someone from your team to come do a Facebook Live video. You can even promote it ahead of time and let people know that, the business owner will be speaking about X topic at such and such event, and it will be live streamed on the Facebook page. And that's a really great way to create live video content without having to take that extra step of coming up with something unique and brand new. And I tell business owners all the time that there are a lot more instances than you would think of that will lend itself to creating those live video moments. And you just have to kind of go through your calendar either for the month or the quarter and sit down with your marketing or social team and say, okay, well, I will be at this in first quarter. I will be at this in fourth quarter. And let's do Facebook Live videos around, some of these different events where I'm already going to be prepared. I'm already going to be speaking about a topic that's relevant to the business. And we can create that live video moment, which can also be evergreen content because you can then download the video after the fact, save it. You can have, professionals like Paul kind of help you chop it up if you want to create some different segments. And then you now have not only the live video moment, but you've created a stream of evergreen content that is right in your brand's message.
And this is Paul with UnoDeuce. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But there, at this point, with what most folks have, like all of us have a smartphone with high definition camera. You have all these apps that are available. There really isn't a reason not to use the video option or use a video option to help promote your business. Whether you use a professional videographer or video team or not, you should at least get started. But also, similar to what Aaron and Courtney just said, that even though it may seem spontaneous, you really should plan for the live. You should plan for this stuff. You should talk about it, even though you put it out there and promote it. Oh, this is going live, but that's all part of the plan. It's all part of the whole strategy of using it.
This is Rose from Moonstone North. I just want to support and follow up with what Paul, Aaron, and Courtney just said, in that, once you have that strategy, you as a business owner have a lot of tools at your disposal to run with this. But you as the business owner sometimes are so close to your subject matter that this may be a case where you find the right partnership in that you bring someone else in to help you with your company's storytelling. Sometimes the hardest story to tell is yours. Sometimes it's really hard to talk about yourself and to see how you are unique. So maybe you bring in a consultant and you say, okay, my team we can go out there. We have our smartphones. We can do this. We need some inspiration on what those stories would be and when we would be posting them consistently, right? So, Facebook Live is a great way to showcase your team members. It is a great way to showcase when you're out and out and about and working on your projects. You have that power in your hand, but do you know how to direct it? And it's a great way to kind of split the work. Your team's the one going out there, but maybe you're getting some inspiration on how to plan it out.
Okay. So, you mentioned, Rose, earlier on about virtual reality and 360 video for business. And as a layperson in this industry, I got to tell you, I don't know what that means. So for our listening audience, can you expound on that and talk about why that's important?
Yeah, and I think I'll kind of give some general ideas, and I know a lot of the panelists want to jump in. But first of all, I think if you're not familiar with it, going online and just Googling something like New York Times virtual reality will give you a sense of some storytelling that's being done today. There are brands that are doing it really well, but news media outlets are actually one place where you can start to get familiar with it. And I say that to say, I think it will make a lot more sense to most listeners who haven't come into contact with it, to kind of take that first step to understand that virtual reality will eventually allow most people. Right now, it's a growing segment of folks are playing with virtual reality, and a growing segment of brands are using it. But get comfortable with the idea that virtual reality allows you to be on the ground with someone. You, by putting on this headset or by looking through this Google Cardboard viewer, you can turn around 360 and look at that space that's in your video setting. You can look up, you can look down. And so think about the power of that immersion and think about that experience that you're going to be able to bring to your customers and to your potential customers and to your clients once this, reaches more of a critical, more saturation. Paula said earlier that it's all about experience, and that is absolutely the case. So right now there are ranges where brands with huge budgets are able to really be at the forefront. They're able to be the first partners with folks like Oculus and and so on. But other brands have options. Facebook Spaces will allow people to start to provide that feel, at least get that augmented reality kind of feel going, and people are going to start to get more accustomed to it. I don't know if Paul. I think Paul has something to add to that.
Well, just to back up a little bit and talk about what the differences are. What is the difference between virtual reality and 360 video, and what does that mean for organizations? Now, basically, with virtual reality, you have to put on a headset, and you're transported into a room or into a world in which you're immersed in this virtual world. Basically, you're able to move forward, move backward within this goggle, within this headset. Whereas in 360 video, you have the same ability to look up and down and whatever, but you're more stationary. It's taken from a camera and on a tripod, and and you can watch. You don't need to put on a headset for 360 video. You can watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, and what it does is it allows you to use your cursor to move around the camera to where you want to look at. But it's more or less a stationary thing. Whereas in virtual reality, you're able to move around, but you have to use a device to see that. And therefore, there's a huge cost differential between those two because of the immense amount of technology that goes into it. And with VR, I think I heard the other day, it's like 10,000 per finished minute, if that's even, that might even be low. That might even be low end for VR. Whereas in 360, that's basically a camera setup, and you have it record, and there's those things around that. But as Rose talked about, there are some companies that have that budget that can do the VR aspect of it, but it is something in which you do have to put something on your face to really experience what is going on with that.
So then, can you give me an example of a company that does each of those, so our listening audience could go take a look and see what they're up against?
Well, just right offhand, the first experience I had with VR was a couple years back when my wife and I traveled to Chicago, and the Jack Daniel's place, the store, had a VR headset set up in which you could tour their manufacturing facility, which was in Tennessee. And so you could do all that. They had, several chairs, and you had to put on a headset, and you did that little tour of that. That's one experience I had. And then the other one is like, if you go look at any GoPro or Red Bull stuff, they have a lot of 360 videos. And like I said, it's all on YouTube. YouTube and Facebook have been able to use or been able to show 360 videos for a while. And so that's you just click and play, and you can just move your cursor around and look wherever.
This is Courtney, and there are a lot of small businesses who are actually utilizing 360 video. So you want to think from a business owner's standpoint, is your location somewhere that your customers patronize? So, is it a bakery or is it a hair salon? And why would a new customer want to see that? So they can familiarize themselves with the place. And once you have that familiarity, you have more, incentive to potentially become a patron. So that's something to think about as well. And a lot of companies are rolling that out, on their website, so people can actually take a virtual tour, like Paul mentioned with the Jack Daniel's.
Okay. So let's talk about where these videos land. I mean, how is this? It seems like it would be on the actual website itself or on social media or both. Is there a strategy to that?
Yeah, you want to have it everywhere. I mean, there actually are a lot of instances where you want everything everywhere. And so you'll want to, you're reaching different customers at different points. And it's just like your marketing efforts have to be multifaceted. You can't just market on one platform and think that'll work, but you've got to have the right marketing mix. It's the same with these produced videos, is you want to have that mix of where those videos live, because different people are going to see them at different times based on those networks.
Got it. Wow. Okay. This conversation could probably continue on, but I appreciate letting us all swim in the deep end of that pool. I want to thank our panel of guests for joining us, and they were
Rose Chantripo, Moonsail North.
Courtney Mackey-Larvadane, founder and managing director of Glow Social Media.
Aaron Richard, Communications Manager, Michigan State University Foundation.
And Paul Schmidt with UnoDeuce Multimedia.